All right, everybody. We are live for the MMA Mainstream Broadcast. I am, of course, James, joined by Kaelyn. And Kaelyn, last week, pretty interesting mixture of fights in the UFC. And then we also had our Underground Fight Series that happened. That took place. Were you able to catch any of the Underground Fight Series?
I did not. Nope. I didn't see it. I think I actually tried to watch it on Facebook, and there was some technical issues, I think, in the beginning. So I didn't check up with it later, but I think they got it fixed, but I didn't get to really see much.
Yeah, we had a huge problem with the bandwidth that we were using. It wasn't enough. And so that's why in the comments, everybody was giving us a hard time and saying it looked like iPhone 1. They haven't seen graphics like that in a long time, or video camera stuff looked like that for a long time. Wow. But yeah, once we were able to fix the bandwidth problem, the second half of the fights that we were able to put out, the grappling was amazing. Like, it was really good stuff. The grappling was high level. As the card progressed, it became like, first it was like white belts, blue belts, and then as we went on and went to purple and so on and so forth, and the matches got better and better. It was a mixture of gi and no gi. I really enjoyed the no gi matches. I thought the higher level guys at no gi were a lot, I wouldn't say more technical, but the way they would go from position to position, it looked a lot smoother to me.
Well, watching people roll in gis, it's a lot of times you don't know what's going on because you can't see if, someone's on top. You can't see if they're reaching around to grab, the pant leg, or, there's a lot of angles. You can't really see what's going on. But when there's no gi, I think you could see more about what's going on.
That's very true too. Although I did see a nice cross choke. That was pretty
really
awesome to see. Yeah,
I've never actually seen anybody do that and win. I'm sure it's
yeah. That's why I was like, what? Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right, I'm down. I'm down.
I remember learning those. Those are pretty harsh if you can get it, but I've never actually seen a whole lot of people get that.
It was a really good event. I look forward to when we do that event again. We held it at Halo Jiu-Jitsu over in, I don't know if it's around the Fresno Clovis border, for those of you that are in Fresno and Clovis, across the street from Blackbeard's. It was a really awesome time. They were very gracious to us and took care of us. I also came up on this hat, Voodoo. It's a lifestyle brand that was out there. So yeah, it was a great time. Sad you didn't get to see it, but there's always next time.
Definitely go to the next one.
The UFC was on Saturday night, and Derrick Lewis.
Yes.
Wow.
He did exactly what I wanted to see.
It was weird I watched a few of the highlights of that, and Blades looked really good. He looked like he was
did. Those first couple of rounds were really good. He's super athletic, so his movement's really smooth. And for a while, it looked like Derrick was in trouble. But somehow he just pulled that uppercut out of his ass and got it.
That was awesome. And it was when he was coming into it. It didn't look like it had any real oomph on it, but no.
It was hard to catch. I actually had to go back. I had to go back and rewind it and watch it because I actually missed it. I'm like, what did he get him with? I didn't even see it. So it was good.
That was nuts. When he put him down and like he was stiff, I was like, oh, no.
That was a really bad knockout too. I hope Blades isn't too injured from that. I hope he can come back and still be himself. As far as like, his chin and stuff like that. Hopefully there's not a whole lot of damage there, but that one was exciting.
That was very exciting. I completely agree with that. And then another fight that surprised me going further down on the card was Andrei Arlovsky versus Tom Aspinall.
That was a good one too.
I completely agree. Aspinall, I took I need to write down who I take and who I didn't take, because a week goes by.
Me too. I forgot.
I just don't remember. I'll be
Well, the
honest.
thing is, doing these shows on Fridays, this happened an entire week ago.
That's very
So
true.
I always forget that fights were great. I remember the fights, but I don't remember who I actually picked.
Aspinall looked great though for a guy that's coming up and making his way through the heavyweight division. I mean, Arlovsky, like I was saying last week, I like Arlovsky, but he's a gatekeeper. He's not where he was in his career. So it was still awesome to see him fight. I was surprised that Aspinall was able to get a submission and get it locked in so fast. It didn't look like
it was so fast.
Yeah, he didn't look like he had fully
a second, and he tapped.
but he was in.
Yeah.
So that was quite surprising to see him win by submission. But
he also had some really good striking too. But he was so fast. He got some good leg kicks in there too. It was really good.
Yeah, he looked really good. I like to see what happens in whoever they match him up with next. That will be a really good fight because the dude's just an awesome fighter to watch.
He definitely put it all out there for sure.
Now the one fight because I went back and watched some of these fights, I decided to not watch because I didn't have enough time. Was Philip Haas versus Nasruddin
Imavov.
Thank you. Yeah. I know that went to decision, a majority decision. I did not happen to catch that fight. Do you recall that fight?
Yeah. So it went all the rounds. Haas had really good leg kicks. He got him in the calf a few times. That was pretty brutal. Imavov came back in the third with some heavy shots, but not enough to get the win. So it was exciting. They had some really good exchanges.
Now, the one that surprised me was I'm pretty sure I took Alexei Oleinik in that fight because of his sheer record. His record's insane. It was like his 75th fight.
Well, he's been around.
Chris Daukaus, wow.
He surprised me.
He looked good. I mean, Oleinik was in trouble and was still able to come back, but nope, didn't do anything. I mean, he tried for a submission early, like he tried to take him to the ground early.
He tried, but
and
that reversed very
not having it.
Yeah, I was surprised because Oleinik's been doing really well lately. And I didn't really know too much about Chris Daukaus, but he definitely capitalized on that. I think he knew, of course, he knew he was going to get taken down or the attempt, but he definitely switched that around pretty quick. That was pretty cool.
I completely agree. Daukaus looked great and just took it to him. Then we had Charles Rosa versus Derrick Minner.
Yes. Minner, I believe.
Minner. Minner won by decision. Also a fight I did not watch. Not because I'm not a fan. I just ran out of time.
Mm-hmm. It was good. Round one, they came out with some pretty wild, those wild looping hooks and stuff. So it was pretty exciting. So Minner rocked Rosa. Went to the ground, and then Minner just kind of controlled him the whole time. Was pretty much what it was. It was round one was more exciting, but it was all right.
And then I did catch this decision fight. And why did I just blank right now when it came to pronouncing their names? Caitlyn Vera versus Yana Kunitskaya.
Kunitskaya.
Thank you.
That one, so with I watched this fight twice. The first time I watched it, I don't know what I was thinking. I was just maybe I was out of it. I don't know. Maybe I was drinking, but I didn't think it was that entertaining. But when I went back and watched it later, I'm like, oh my gosh, this fight was actually good. And a lot of people were saying that it was kind of a controversial win for Yana because they thought that Caitlyn Vera, since she had most of the control when she was on the ground, that it looked like she should have won. But when you add up the strikes that Yana had, and you take into account how well she defended Vera on the ground, and then right in that last round came back, got on top, and landed some really heavy elbows that really just she cut her open quick. And I almost wish she would have done that like a while, like before, maybe in the second round. She could have, I think, if she had another 30 seconds to 40 seconds, she possibly could have finished her with ground and pound with elbows.
I think so too. I do agree with that, especially when you look at the fight stats. 215 total strikes. Like, really?
Well, a lot of those, she was on the ground. She had her back for a while, so she was kind of doing that type of thing. And
that still strikes. I mean, yeah, okay, not necessarily effective strikes, but still strikes nonetheless. And
even on the feet, though, she was throwing, and she was throwing her knees really well. When she was in the clinch, she was pinned up against the cage for a while, but she was still landing strikes too.
Yeah, Vera was dominant on the ground, but she kept transitioning. I wasn't able to get anything going.
You know what? And I think that must have been exactly her Yana's game plan, because she defended that so well.
Yeah, she mentioned that in her post-fight interview, that she was ready for a black belt, was scared, but she was handled it very well.
She got ready and she did it. That's really impressive. I like that, because I'm a fan of hers. I like her, and I like to know that she could defend herself on the ground. So I can't wait to see what happens with her.
And that was the fight card from last weekend. And of course, it's UFC. They have a fight card every weekend. But first of all, Tom Owens has commented, says, amigos. Tom Owens was also there at the Underground Fight Series. He was our ring announcer. He got out there and pumped up MMA Fight Pass. And then Master of Beards. Well, I got some bad news, Tom. I'm going to cut it. I'm trimming this hardcore. Because when you get, like, when you're laying down and, like, your face is against something, and then you go, huh? Yeah. No,
how about wearing a mask, though? Trying to wear a mask?
That's not fun. I also have an indention from that. I don't know if you can see that right there. Yeah, I have an indention from that. So, Tom, that will not be, won't be the case, because I'm going to go and get this. No more Amish James. All right. I'm tired of churning butter. It's not for me. I don't dig it. But we do have UFC this coming weekend, as we always do, because it's the UFC and they control the MMA world. So
they do.
They do, because we know more about that since we're stateside than anything else. But there is some other interesting news that we have coming up after we do a quick run through of these picks, and we will be discussing that, of course. So let's start with the bottom of the card. Kevin Croom versus Alex Caceres.
Yeah, I don't know who Kevin Croom is, but Alex Caceres, I haven't seen him fight in a while, and I don't know who he fought last. But he's pretty good, so I'm wondering how that one's gonna go.
I too haven't seen him fight for a while, but I believe he's the longest tenured lightweight, or just a smaller weight class. He's the longest tenured fighter in the UFC for that division.
Wow. Well, yeah, no, he's been around. It's been a while since he got in.
Yeah, he started off on The Ultimate Fighter.
That's right. Yep. I remember, because I watched that season. He never really went anywhere with that. I feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe he was injured or just what, but he's
floated around. But he's been in the UFC consistently. He just hasn't gotten to a point where he's like, all right, this guy, that's the man.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately. And then we see he's fighting Kevin Croom. I don't know. Like, I've heard this guy have different nicknames. This one says Crash, but I heard he was like some hillbilly, which I'm like, you know what? Okay. I mean, I feel like Crash is probably more appropriate, for PR for the UFC. Yeah. So let's go with that. All right. So what do you think, Kaelyn? Who do you take in this battle?
I'm gonna go with Alex Caceres. I know, well, their experience is almost, fairly the same. I'm gonna go with Alex Caceres based on UFC experience.
All right. This is a totally stupid reason. His nickname is Bruce Leroy. Yeah. And I'm old and you're not. So do you know what that's in reference to?
Bruce Leroy? No.
It's in reference to a movie called The Last Dragon.
Oh.
It's an epic movie, and
Is
I
it?
have it in my personal collection. I love it to death.
Oh.
I will also take Bruce Leroy, and seeing as how he, of course, has the overall experience of being in the UFC as long as he has, hopefully with this fight, he can get a last run at possibly a title shot and, a title. But, who knows? I will
We'll
take
see.
Bruce Leroy in
Yeah.
that fight. And then moving up, we have Angela
Yes.
Hill versus Ashley Yoder.
Yes. I am such a huge Angela Hill fan. She, when people ask me like who's your favorite fighter, who's your favorite female fighter, she's like number 2. And I think, and honestly, I don't know who my number 1 is yet. I want to say Holly Holm just because I was always rooting for her even before she got the belt that one time. Angela Hill, I like her. I would have to say she's probably my favorite female UFC fighter right now. She's so active. Last year, 2020, I think she fought a total of 5 times. Like she was always ready. She was always available taking short notice fights. And I think this one's a short notice one also.
Wow, in the UFC, that's pretty lopsided. 42% win by knockout for Angela Hill, and then 50% submission wins for
Wow.
Yoder.
Well, then that is quite the opposite.
They do go to decision quite a bit also.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm definitely going for Angela Hill. She needs to win. She's so good, and she just fights so many tough girls, and she just can't catch a break. But she is so good. I just want to see her make a run for the title because I love her.
All right. You know what? I'll take Hill as well. When you have certain fighters, like okay, have you ever heard of Shayna Baszler?
Nope.
This is where my age and experience come into play. Shayna Baszler was one of the most dominant female fighters before female fighting was really a big deal. She made
Okay.
it onto the Ultimate Fighter, and I believe she was favored to actually win. She was, or one of the favorites, I should say. And she just had a really poor performance and kind of floundered out of the UFC. And she's doing WWE now, but yet she was still one of the baddest fighters out there. And I feel like that
Really?
with what you're telling me, that's the same situation. That
Wow.
Angela Hill is this great fighter and has just not caught a lucky
Angela
break.
Hill is on the Ultimate Fighter as well.
Oh, really?
Yep.
See what I make up for in the history, you make up for in recent history.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I told you I started watching UFC when it was like 2010, 2011. All this stuff was just happening, all this Ultimate Fighter stuff, like that, the actual show, the TV show. And then that's when Ronda Rousey came around and they gave her a season, and that's the season that Angela Hill was on. So I've been following her ever since Ultimate Fighter.
That show's been around longer than that.
Yeah, no, it has. I've watched all the older seasons too, but when I got into it, that Ronda Rousey era, that's really when I started paying attention to everything.
I got you. I also take Hill, but let's be real. If it goes to the ground, Yoder is probably gonna mop her up.
Maybe, but Angela Hill could still get it.
If it goes to decision, that's when it's kind of like who's gonna get it. I don't know. All right.
Angela Hill is a really good striker, so
hopefully she won't get caught in a takedown. That's all I can say about that. Moving up the card, we have a bantamweight bout between Pedro Munoz versus Jimmy Rivera. You have number 8 and number 9 in this bantam bout.
I feel like that's going to be a really good one. Well, Pedro Munoz is good. But usually, I think I said this last time, that whenever you have like a number 6 to number 7, number 9 versus a number 8, this is going to be a really, really good fight.
I completely but Jimmy Rivera likes to go to decision. Hopefully he can change that.
Yeah, but Pedro Munoz, I'm picking Munoz. I think he'll get it. What weight is this? This is 135. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Pedro for this one.
You go Pedro. I'll do the same because to me, from looking at his stats right here, he's the more exciting fighter.
Well-rounded.
Rivera, yeah, that too. Rivera gets the win, but by decision, so he just grinds out his opponents. Which, hey, if it gets the win, it gets the win.
Yeah, Pedro can definitely finish it though in multiple ways, so I'm gonna go with him.
The young Punisher, we both take on this card.
Man, I thought Pedro had a higher ranking than number 8, though. Interesting.
All right, another female fight. We have the women's flyweight bout with Montana De La Rosa versus Mayra Bueno Silva.
Yeah, Montana De La Rosa, I believe, is a wrestler. She was actually on The Ultimate Fighter as well in one of the later seasons. She doesn't really fight that often. I think she had a tough go a couple of her first fights, if I remember right. Could be wrong, but
she is coming off of a loss in her last UFC bout.
Okay, yeah, and I forgot who that was against, but she's good. And Silva, I haven't seen her fight too much either, but I don't know. I actually don't know about her. This one, I don't know. I don't know who to pick for this one.
This will be awesome.
It's gonna be a ground fight, I think.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Because De La Rosa is a wrestler and Silva is Brazilian. They usually got jiu-jitsu down pretty well, so might be a wrestling match.
We don't stereotype on this show, Kaelyn. Like, come on now.
Huh?
We don't stereotype on this show. Come on now. I'm just kidding. No, you're right. Like, her ground should be amazing.
But I think that's what she was known for. Is why I said that. But I'm not positive, so I could be wrong. But I think that is why. Looks like it.
De La Rosa basically does have the advantage on takedowns.
Wrestler, yep.
All right, I take Silva just because she also has the nickname of Shitara. And this goes into my age also because Thundercats. Oh, come on now. Yeah, I definitely take her.
I'm gonna go for De La Rosa just because I want to see her win. Right. I hope she gets it.
Well, she's 11-6, and Silva is 7-1.
7-1. Silva might get this one though.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't go decision. Hopefully these two hit the ground, and
hopefully someone will get the stuff.
Comes out of it.
Yeah.
One of the things mentioning grappling, I'm a huge fan of leg locks and heel hooks. I'm only a white belt. And yet,
you're not allowed to do those, huh?
I'm not. But when we did submission wrestling, which is basically no-gi, we were. So I learned them, and I love them. I would love to see it happen more in the UFC, but it is what it is. Yet seeing it at the Underground Fight Series was amazing because I got to see people going for it, and I was just like, "Yes!"
Did anybody get one? Did anybody actually get the sub with that?
Not that I recall, but they went for it, and that was the thing. Like one guy was trying so hard to get it, and it didn't happen. But I definitely appreciated the effort. The effort was definitely there.
I really do not like seeing that. I just, whenever it comes to the legs with the knees and the ankles, I don't like to see things twist in a way where it's just going to snap
where
at some
somebody
point.
Can't walk. Oh, I understand.
It hurts my eyes to watch that.
That hurts your eyes to watch, but what about somebody bloody and cut open?
Oh, that's the best.
To each their own, because I appreciate both. I appreciate both. All right,
I like Muay Thai. I like those elbows. So.
Oh man, I've been seeing some clips lately of some Muay Thai fights.
Brutal.
I don't know who any of these people are because they're not. It's not Glory. Yeah. It's not K1. And if I saw their name, I'd be like,
you can't pronounce it either. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good fights, and they're usually normally you'll see that with the smaller weight classes. They tend to go pretty hard with that. One Championship has good Muay Thai in there too.
One Champion. We'll be talking about them a little later. I'm pretty pumped about this.
Yeah.
About that conversation. I really am. Yeah. All right. Moving on in the UFC card, a light heavyweight bout. We have Nikita Krylov versus Nagamed Ankalaev.
Ankalaev.
That's a lot of vowels, man. Vowels caught me off guard.
Sound
All
frustrated.
right. Both are coming off wins. One is from Ukraine, and the other is from Russia. As you can see there, 6'3". Damn, tall dudes.
Yeah. 205s.
Oh, man. We know that both of them like to swing, but Nikita likes to submit dudes.
Yeah, that could be a problem for Ankalaev.
But he's got to get him to the ground, though.
That's true.
I mean, we'll see.
Could probably get knocked out on trying to take him down, so we'll see.
All right. It could be like another Derrick Lewis.
Almost, yeah, maybe.
The beast. All right. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with Ankalaev. I'm going to go with him.
You know what? I like Nikita over here, the minor. I'm going to take him.
Okay.
I just think it's cool. Like, sometimes my picks, like, I've been talking about UFC for a long time, but sometimes I'm just like, I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah.
I'll just pick it because he has a cool nickname. Like Silva. Her nickname's Shitara. That's awesome. That's why I chose her. Just be honest. Having fun. All right. And the main event of the card is a heavyweight bout. Heavyweight's been showing out lately. I really appreciate that.
They finally
as a large individual, I definitely appreciate that.
That's funny. I'm glad that heavyweight has so many good fighters now to watch.
I've always appreciated that heavyweights are literally heavy-handed and in fights quickly. I mean, the same goes for boxing. A heavyweight fight, that fight, unless it goes to distance, of course, is going to end in a knockout.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to let you help me out with these names because that's a lot going on. I don't have a pronouncer for this.
So we have Jairzinho Rosenstrike, or Rosenstruck, however you want to say it.
Jairzinho Rosenstruck. Rosenstrike. I like Rosenstrike. That sounds hard. I like that.
Against Cyril Gahn.
Cyril Gahn. You have Rosenstrike. That's number 4 in the rankings, and then Cyril is number 7.
They're both good. Their records are good. Gahn is undefeated, looks like here, and Rosenstrike only has 1 loss. So these guys are coming up pretty fast in the division. I forgot who Rosenstrike fought last. Man, I wish I remembered. And Cyril Gahn fought. Gahn fought fairly recently. I believe it was in Vegas, one of their fight nights. I just don't remember which one. But he won also. I just don't remember who his opponent was. Should look these up before.
Well, Rosenstruck has the name for it because he strikes and wins at 91%. Only 9% went to decision in the UFC. Holy moly.
Yeah. He made his way up pretty fast.
I feel like him and Derrick, him and the Beast. I just like saying that. I think that would be that fight's not going to the ground. If it goes to the ground, it's because somebody got knocked out. That would be a fight to make. And if that fight has ever happened already and I just don't know it, I'm going to watch it.
It may have.
I wouldn't be surprised. So many the UFC, man, they do so many fights I can't keep up anymore. So I'm trying, folks. I'm really trying.
Yeah, I may be wrong. I think it may have been Derrick Brunson. I think. I could be wrong, though.
All right. So, who do you pick?
I'm going to go with Jairzinho, Biggie Boy. I love his nickname.
Gonna go with Jairzinho.
Yeah.
I want to pick him. So, I'm going to go with Cyril, though. I got to choose him just to be the foil to you.
This one could be a toss-up. It could go either way with this one.
I think it might be a situation like it was last week. He tries to shoot, catches a fist, and stiff. The end.
We'll see. Hopefully, yeah.
We will definitely see about that. Now, we were talking about this earlier in the week or like 2 days ago, whenever it was announced, I should say. about Shinya Aoki. This dude, you don't know about him, but I do. This guy.
Well, he's a jiu-jitsu legend, apparently.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with too many jiu-jitsu guys, but from what I've seen, he is quite the legend.
But you know who Sage Northcutt is, because he was this like poster boy for the UFC for a hot minute.
For a minute.
It's like he could be on Tiger Beat too. Oh, handsome. Looks good. And then he's no longer in the UFC. He's at ONE FC. And he's gonna fight Shinya Aoki. Oh my god. Like that.
So how do you think this fight's gonna go though?
Well, Sage Northcutt does have some grappling wins. So I think if they go to the ground, he might be able to defend. Not for long. I'm pretty sure it goes ground Aoki all the way.
Of course. Yeah.
All the way.
But also, man, ever since Sage Northcutt's gotten into ONE, they've been, I feel like they're trying to kill him with his opponents. I think it was his first fight in, he gets his entire orbital bone broken. It was brutal. And now this, it's like, well, man, I guess some people, they like to feed to the wolves, I guess. So
that happens. It happens more than you think. And that's the thing. Aoki is still competing. It's just unfortunately, I'm a fan, but I'm not hearing about him competing states. Like he's not competing here, but I'm not hearing about him competing overseas. He's really? 49 and I think 49 and like 6. I could be wrong. Wow. I looked it up earlier and I forgot. But yeah, he hasn't even hit double digits in losses, so he's doing pretty good.
Wow.
And Northcutt, yeah, I think you're right. I think they are trying to kill him.
Like, what the heck?
At least they're trying. They're not necessarily trying to kill him. They are trying to sell the card. You know,
they're not doing him any favors. That's for sure.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
So I take it you'll take Sage Northcutt for that one.
No, I'll go.
No,
I'll go there. Right. Yeah. I think I already know what's gonna happen here.
Aoki all the way.
You don't really even have to be that familiar to know what is gonna happen with this fight. I think I'd be very surprised if it goes the other way, but we'll see. I think that's coming up in April.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I remember, which I probably will, that we will of course discuss that, and once we get a full fight card, we will mention that as well.
You know what sucks is they do these things at like 4:30 in the morning because they're over there in Singapore.
As somebody who works overnights and is up at that time,
there you go.
Super okay with that.
They actually just had a fight card this morning at 4:30 in the morning. Also,
I wish I would have known that. I was at work. I was at work, so I probably wouldn't have watched it anyways. But the thought would have been fun. Oh, why not?
Yeah.
All right. And then some other interesting news. I don't know if you've heard about this, so I'll mention it now. Frank Mir recently.
Who is he fighting now?
It's a boxing match. Versus former world champion Antonio Tarver.
Okay.
Wow. Do you know? Okay. You know who Frank Mir is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you know who Antonio Tarver is?
Nope.
Have you ever seen the movie Rocky Balboa?
Yes.
Not Rocky. Rocky Balboa, which is Rocky 6. He was the guy that Rocky
I think I stopped after like 4.
Well, that also goes back to the earlier conversation where you think they're trying to kill Northcutt. Like Drago says from number 4, if he dies.
Yeah, that was good.
So Frank Mir is going to box Antonio Tarver.
Why?
Antonio Tarver, I don't know why, but we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm just going to say I'm not a fan of these boxing matches that they have been trying to pump up and put out I don't. First of all, I don't care about someone. I don't care to watch a boxing match between people that are over 50 years old or are not boxers. They're in MMA and they're just calling out a boxer to, make some money. I'm not interested in seeing those fights. I'm just not. I'll watch them, but I'm really not excited about seeing those. I wasn't even excited to see McGregor and Mayweather. I wasn't excited. Definitely watched it. It was okay, but I'm like, man, what is this? I don't know how you feel about those, but I'm not a big fan of seeing two non-boxers box.
Okay.
I'm not saying I won't watch it. I'll watch it.
That's the thing. Like, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah,
I like freak show fights. I always have.
That's what they are. They're freak show fights.
That's why they say that freak show fight, because it's
a circus.
It's almost it's a spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these guys aren't the real deal, but you're like, you know what? I'd like to see that dude get punched in the face. I'm super okay with that. Like I'm a pro wrestling fan. Everybody knows it. When CM Punk competed in the UFC,
you like that?
Props to him. Hey, he tried. He tried. He's not Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar also was a Division I wrestling champ.
Yeah.
He had
he's an athlete. He's an athlete. He is a true athlete.
But
steroids
still,
or not, he's a good athlete.
When Brock fought, I was like, I want to see this. Same for CM Punk. I want to see this.
Yeah.
And every time Bob Sapp fights, he's only going to give you a minute 30. But you know what? I want to see it.
Yeah.
It's
well, did you watch the Mike Tyson fight not that long ago?
Him versus Roy Jones Jr. I watched bits and pieces of it. I wasn't able to see the whole thing. I really enjoyed it. I thought, two guys that were not heavy competitors anymore, that pretty much retired. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
I just, when they first put out like, oh, it's an exhibition, I'm like, all right. I watched it, but I wasn't excited. And I love Mike Tyson, of course, but I don't want to see him fight now. Back in the day when he was fighting, that's cool, but
watching him train, that still scared me.
It did, but that little video that he leaked of him hitting pads that one time, I happened to catch the Joe Rogan podcast. He had Mike Tyson on there. And Mike Tyson said he was stuck in bed for 3 days after making that video.
I mean, I understand. People get old. Like,
yeah.
I get up and I hurt things that I didn't even know hurt. So I get
exactly.
it. But still, it's the freak show aspect of it that is super entertaining.
Well, legends, first of all. They're legends anyway.
Yeah. These are guys, so of course, we always remember their heyday. It's like when Chuck Liddell last competed. Like, of course, Chuck Liddell fans are going to watch it. Are we sad that it's not the same Chuck Liddell? Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to watch it, even though it's not the same.
Yeah.
But those are also athletes. This one is a freak show fight because we have a guy who's similar, like you said, McGregor versus Mayweather.
That's what it is.
Who does something similar, but he's really out of his element. And all right, well, we're going to see how he does. But if he gets his butt whooped, we aren't really.
I think it's a matter of when. I don't know. You never know. That's the thing about fights is you never know what's going to happen. Someone could get caught with a punch. You don't know what's going to happen after that. You can predict, but you never really know.
A la last weekend's UFC fight night, where Lewis didn't look great the first round and dropped him.
I was sad. I'm like, oh no, I think I know where this is going. But the thing with him, it's like, oh, I forgot. It's Derrick Lewis. He could land that. He could be almost dead and throw that and still win. So
that was your reaction. My reaction was, oh, that's awesome.
I was so excited when I saw that. I thought the fight was like, I'm like, oh, he's almost done. But then he found that uppercut finally.
that was beautiful. It was brilliant.
Two heavy guys too.
That is going to wrap it up for us here at the MMA Mainstream Podcast. I am James. She is Kaelyn. You guys have a good weekend. Enjoy the fights, and we will see you next time.
Mhm.
Have a good one.